can someone incorporate music into their relationship if they don't sing or play?
Yes. Okay. Um, so you understand the elements that are involved in communicating and how music affects you. There are so many different genres of music. A spiritual effect uh, would tend to cause you to look at your values. Spiritualism, with regard, or no, let me not use that term. Spiritism, I think, is more of what I mean. Is the God essence of every human being. So if you are listening to classical, if you're listening to jazz, if you're listening to gospel, if you're listening to contemporary or traditional gospel, if you're listening to hip hop, if you're listening to pop, because these genres are produced by human beings, and human beings are spiritual and carnal, there is an essence of spiritism that can be drawn from whatever, whoever. It's up to the individual and what they are seeking. Give you an example. Prince, Purple Rain. I ran into a dear friend, a dear lady, who thought Purple Rain was a gospel song.
Oh.
Now, those of us in music laugh at that because our history, our education, our exposure, and our experience help us to understand the difference between a gospel song and an R&B song, a classical piece and a jazz piece. But to someone who has not been exposed that way, what they identify with is what they hear, not the lyrics, but what they hear. If you listen to Purple Rain, Prince used very common gospel chords in that song. This lady, because that is what she has been exposed to, heard those chords. And it moved her spiritually, even to embrace the lyrics and to interpret them in a spirit way as opposed to a carnal way. Now, you've got to understand that, once you understand something, and let me hasten to say, I did not correct her. I felt that trying to correct her could have possibly ruined an innocence, and I didn't want to be responsible for that.
Okay.
I figure, let God do it. Let God take her and reveal to her and give her the discernment he wants her to have. And if he does not, it's because she doesn't need it. Who am I to say that she does? I, on the other hand, who have been exposed, that song doesn't strike me spiritually. because I understand where it's coming from. Even though I hear the same chords and I know that those chords are used in church, but I discern this song as a secular song. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just know it's not a spiritual song, so it doesn't affect me spiritually. Um, for the individual that hears music, loves music, you ought to be aware of what moves you spiritually, and exercise it in innocence and honesty. Now, what am I saying? You need to do your homework. You need to understand the artist. You need to understand why they wrote what they wrote what they mean. Because even though it's touching you in a spiritual way, it might not be good for you, or it may not be good for others because its origin is not spiritual. If it's carnal, other people may fall and trip because, they recognize that carnality. That's their life experience. Um, and who knows, eventually she might run up on somebody that will laugh at her and say, this is what this song means. Her innocence is gone at that point. Her trust in her ability to discern the presence of God is now questionable. You've got to do your homework. You've got to be honest. You've got to look at who the artists are, what they represent, um, and whether or not the intent of the song is spiritual. If it's carnal, then be wise and govern yourself accordingly. Now, with that said, the question I ask myself and I ask you, in the life of the Christian, does a non-spiritual art have any place? If the answer is yes, what is the value of that place? Because it's never going to be spiritual. This is where we as individuals have to depend on trusting God and ask Him, will this Beatles song hurt me? Will this Mariah Carey song damage me? Will this OJ's song give me the wrong feelings or mess up my moral principles? Ask Him. Ask Him. I just firmly believe that God will never leave any individual squandering. That's asking in truth and in sincerity. He will always lead and guide and provide an answer for you so that your life experience with Him isn't threatened. Now we got to we've got to with all of this, we've got to recognize that there are arts that are purely carnal, and they are not designed for your edification. They are designed to destroy the human moral discipline. So you have that, and you know, that coupled with other vices will take the human into a place of carnality, which is very difficult to get away from, very difficult to pull away from. And you hear the voice of God, you feel the impulse of God less and less and less. Now that opens you up to satanic influence. And you go from one vice to another, to another, to another, because you can no longer judge or discern what is right and what is wrong. Per your own choice. You have to deny the spirit, because the spirit will always warn you, this is not good. Don't listen to this. Don't let this be part of your daily absorption. Back away from this. Leave this completely alone. The Spirit will tell you. That's what it's here for, to lead us and guide us into truth. So this is how dynamic music is. I tell people all the time that there's only one element of worship that will leave this planet and go with us to heaven, and that's music. Preaching will come to an end. Prayers will come to an end. Offerings will come to an end. We will no longer have need for any of that. We will always sing. We will always play instruments. We will always make music throughout eternity. Music is the only element of our worship liturgy that will go with us. So it's a powerful element. And again, it is designed to give you that personal connection with God, where He can lead you and guide you and teach you and edify you. Keeping in mind that Satan was the music of heaven when he was Lucifer, before he sinned. He was the music of heaven. He directed it, he wrote it, he designed it, he led it. Lucifer was music. Satan knows what he's doing with music, and he knows how to use it to totally throw a person off the path with God. So there's pro and there's con, and we as human beings are responsible for making sure we're making the right decisions with our musical choices. They're either going to build us up or tear us down. They're either going to help us see God, or they're going to cloud God out of our lives. And to me, it is an awesome privilege that we can make music, that we can hear music, that we can enjoy music. But we have to understand it's either going to be spiritual in its intent or carnal in its intent. And that is what will be what we have to decide. Is this spiritual? Is this carnal? And it's going to be different for each person, because we're not all the same. So you have to judge your own. What works for you may not work for someone else.
It's a very powerful insight, and really calling us to think about what we consume and what comes into our spirit. So what would you say would be your favorite part about music and your least favorite part about music?
My favorite part about music is how it makes me feel. No matter what my life circumstance is, there's a song that makes it all right. If it's a good experience, I feel great with the right song. If it's a bad experience, I feel rescued from that experience with the right song. Either way, I come away feeling amazingly lifted. Um, Now, being a drummer, um, I can get a good feeling from a bad song.
Okay. Good.
And this is where I have to exercise this spiritual discernment. I was in a band, played at a local DC high school, and in the middle of our set, I'm watching the kids dance and all that was going on. And it hit me. They're doing what they're doing because I'm doing what I'm doing. If God were to walk in this auditorium, or it was their cafeteria, if God were to walk in, I would be responsible for how I used my talent to lead people to do what they're doing. And that was my last gig with that band. Because I never wanted anything of what I do and what I love to do to mislead someone. I don't want that responsibility. So we've got to be conscientious about our power, because this is exactly what it is. It's our power that God has given us to have influence over others, and we've got to use it properly, responsibly, honestly, so that it's all good. For them, for me, it's all good for everyone. At least having that intention guards you from the satanic abuse of your gift and talent. Because there'll always be someone that's off and is not moved properly by what you're doing. There's always going to be somebody. But putting it in the right intention, God covers us. And we are absolved from being responsible for how that person is receiving it. If our intent is pure, we're not held responsible for their negative reaction to it. But your intention has to be pure. So I think everyone, I just believe everyone should love music, but not everyone does. And for those that do not, it's not their problem. And their gift or talent is what they need to focus on in terms of how to connect with God through those gifts and talents. It might be sewing. It might be sports. It might be medicine. Whatever it is, you can connect with God through that and exercise it with righteous intention. Your gift and talent will mature. You will bless many. Many will benefit from what you do. And you are guarded from the responsibility of negative reaction.
Okay.
So
lastly, I would ask if you have a favorite verse that encourages you, or
yes, Psalms 51, 10 through 12. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence. Take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore the joy of my salvation. And the last part is uphold me with thy right spirit. That last statement, uphold me with thy right spirit, is critical for us as human beings. The battle in this world is between carnality and our spirit. God gave us both. Sin attacks both, but rules one. Spiritual attacks both, rules one. So the war is between God and Satan, good and evil, righteousness and unrighteousness, morality, immorality. There is no third party. There is no gray area. Word of God says that only what we do for Christ will last. Why? Because it's spiritual.
Yeah.
Spiritual is eternal because it's God. And God is eternal. Carnality is Satan. We know that Satan will be destroyed. Sin cannot last always. And those that choose to follow the path of sin will follow the path of Satan and enter into that destruction. And it is an eternal destruction. even to the point of memory. You know, they will be remembered no more. The challenge, and why the struggle in the challenge is because both are enjoyable. You usually don't see sinners engaged in their sin regretfully. The regret comes after the result of the sin is manifested. But while they're in the act, they're just as euphoric as they can be. Same thing with a Christian. They're in the presence of God, worshiping, enjoying his presence, singing, dancing, whatever it may be. The only difference is the aftermath is sweet. It's still enjoyable. There's no negativeness to it. But as we know, Satan's objective is to make sure that as many human beings perish in hell along with him as possible. So he's constantly attacking those of us who are trying to live in the Spirit. Knowledge is power. So by knowing this, you guard the avenues to your soul. The avenues to your soul are your senses, your five senses. You commit your five senses to a spiritual existence, And oh my goodness, the things you will experience. It is a beautiful existence, but it is under attack. And we know why. Adversely, those that choose to not live spiritually, but live carnally, will have good days and bad days. Just like the Christian. Good days and bad days. They will enjoy their sin, as we say, for a season, suffer its consequences, go right back after they recover and indulge in their sins again. Because it's their choice. And sin is pleasurable. And it's just that there's such a negative outcome from it because it's wrong. It's just simply wrong. It's meant to destroy us. So that's just it. I mean, you can try to rationally vet this thing out. You can philosophize about it all you want. It just comes down to a plain, simple truth. Sin kills. Mm-hmm. It kills. The spirit lives eternally. Simple as that. And so everything else, all of the elements about our life that we enjoy, music, since we're talking about it, you got to figure that thing out. What works for you and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. What is your intent? Is your intent to be close to God? Then you got to vet everything in your quote unquote secular music playlist. What is it doing to you? Is it attacking your morality? Is it causing you to lose grip? You know, you got to be honest with yourself. Does it strengthen you? Does it ennoble you? Does it make you feel spiritually secure? Can it make you feel spiritually secure? Mm. The same thing with your spiritual music. How is it touching you? How is it moving you? Is it giving you clarity? Is it giving you confusion? We've got to understand this, and it's an individual matter. It's not a group thing. It's not a group thing at all. It's very individual, and so we should above all be patient and kind and embracing of every individual's status with God, and know that judging is where we really need to stay completely away from that. And we don't have a right to judge a person's spiritual life. Mm-hmm. What works for one person may not work for the other. And it could be the same hymn. I mean, I've heard some hymns that I could do well never hear again. Okay. I'd be all right. I'd be just fine if I never heard them again. They did absolutely nothing for me. Oh no! This spoke in a way that I knew what you meant. I knew what it meant. I knew what the writer meant. I don't have that kind of life. Mm. That's not reaching me. But for someone else, that's just the essence of their truth. Mm. So let me calm down and be okay. Mm. And embrace the fact that it works for you. It doesn't work for me, but this does work for me. Mm-hmm. So I choose this.
It's okay to be different or have different avenues. Mm-hmm. So what would be, in closing, what would be your prayer to all those who are watching?
That you find your way. Individually. Find your way. Don't try to find your way through someone else's way. Mm. Find your way. to God through the elements of your life. Things are changing so rapidly now, and we really need to be acutely aware of our choices. Make sure that all of your choices are leading to an eternal life, a pure life. Understand what that means for you and God. Understand that you really need to find a value in the idea of the reality of being with God forever. It is a serious thing. You got to know that this is what you really want above everything else in existence. You want to be with God forever, or you don't.
Yeah.
As my mother used to say, don't lose out twice. You know, if you decide that being in God's presence is not what you want, and for an eternity, you don't really want that, then make the conscientious decision to do what does please you, and you're willing to face the consequences. Ronald Reagan's son, Ron Reagan Jr., is an avowed atheist, and he had a commercial out at one point where he blatantly said that he was an avowed atheist and he's not afraid of burning in hell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he says this openly. And I said to my mother when I heard the commercial, I said, how is it that you would even acknowledge hell? If you are an atheist and you claim you don't believe in God, why would you believe in hell? I don't understand that. I said to her, I believe he is conflicted. I believe that his statement of defiance, of spiritual defiance, is not concrete. And so I determined that I would pray if there's a possibility for him to accept Christ as his Lord. Trouble him until he does. So, you know, if I'm going to go to hell, I'm certainly not going to be worried about it. Whether there is hell or not, that ain't the point of my life. The point of my life is to have fun. It's to do this and do that and do the other and enjoy it, and yeah, whatever the consequences are, the consequences are. But I'm not worried about hell. I don't see how you can enjoy a life of sin and be conscientious of hell. I just don't see. So find out where you are with God and make sure every element of your life, that's your music, your choice in food, what you wear, where you work, what your skills are, where your gifts and talents are, make sure they line up with that decision, whatever that decision is. Make sure that everything lines up with it. And you will have a fruitful life, either spiritually or carnally. Your life will be fruitful. It's just that the consequences are directly opposite. One is life forever, and the other one is death forever.
Very true. Well, thank you so much,
My pleasure.
for your time, sharing your testimony,
Yes,
sharing your
this is
insight.
fun.
It was really impactful and made me reflect a lot on live music, and just being intentional.
Yes.
Intentional.
Yes, absolutely.
So to all of our viewers, remember that prayer is just a conversation with God, and testimony is your story that you share with others.
Yes.
So until next time.